Hello and welcome back to the Battle Jackets London podcast. This is episode 8 and you're joined by myself, Louis Noguera, and our first ever guest, Tanner Buchanan.
Hello. Can't reach that camera, but hello.
You're on these two. You can look at those ones. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
You're the first guest.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Hopefully
It's a pretty
people will
great.
be pleased.
I'm sure they will. I thought we would start off with how I realised that you might be a metalhead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So I watched all of Kobra Kai
Okay, great.
with my dad and my brother.
All right, dope.
We watched it as it came out.
Right.
So when was the first year? Can you remember? It's been a while now.
So we shot the first season in the fall of 2017.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It has been quite a long time then.
Yeah, I was 18 going on 19,
Yeah.
and I am 26 turning 27 this year.
Mad.
Yeah. Insane. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've been watching it like as it came out. So
Okay.
I must have not watched the first season since
Right.
it came out.
Okay.
But I mean, the first thing is like some of the soundtrack in that
Yeah.
has got some like fantastic songs.
Yeah.
Like, I just off the top of my head, I know like it's got some Queensryche in there, some Scorpions.
Yeah.
You know, like, and me and my dad and brother, we love that stuff.
Got a little bit Journey in there,
Yeah.
and Guns N' Roses, I think,
course.
too. Over the season, as we've gotten more successful and maybe a little bit more money, they've had a
Yeah.
little bit more money to spend on getting the rights to songs.
Yeah, I did think that. But it was one scene sticks in my head in particular.
All right.
You were in a fight, which is no surprise.
Yeah.
I think you were fighting Kenny's older brother in a basketball court or something.
Yeah. Like this past season.
Yeah, and well, you can tell that that's the most recent one that I've
Yeah.
watched and not the old ones. But I remember watching that scene with my dad, and we watched it through,
Mm-hmm.
and then he paused it, and then he went back and we watched it again.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Look at his shirt! Look at his shirt!" And I'm fairly sure you had a Tool shirt on.
I did. Funny enough, so when I walked in that season, Frank, our guy who's in charge of wardrobe, in charge of costumes, he obviously knows that I like metal, and he just had it on the rack, and I looked at it and I go, "We're trying this one on,
Yeah.
right?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then we put it on, and I said, "I need to wear the Tool shirt." I said, out of all the things, and Robbie, is supposed to be more of, I guess, like myself, and,
Yeah.
and more into metal and stuff like that. And I said, "We've never worn like really anything with a name on it, so
Yeah.
can we do this?" And he goes, "Well, we have to check, obviously, with the band and see if it's good to go and wear on the show." And I said, "Whatever you have to do, I need to be wearing this shirt." And lo and behold, a week later, when we go to shoot this, it was in my trailer. So I was excited because all that was going through my mind was he had to reach out to Tool, and Tool had to approve that I had to wear this shirt. So obviously they know somewhat of something of the show that that I'm wearing this shirt, and that's all that was going through my mind, and still sticks in my mind.
Yeah.
Through that. So I got very excited. I was like, Tool knows who we are.
Yeah.
They have to.
That's great. That's exactly what I was going to ask. I was going to say, like, did you have any influence over wearing that shirt? And clearly that was...
That one, yeah, I did. Every once in a while, we have conversations of what we're most comfortable in. A lot of the conversations, though, come into pants and
Yeah.
how stretchy they are,
Yeah.
and if we can fight them.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. But that's when I thought, like, I mean, it obviously fits the character,
Right.
but that you're into metal as well.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the start then.
Okay.
How did you become a metalhead? When did that happen?
Well, I guess I'll run it back even farther. So, grew up in the middle of nowhere in Ohio, town of like 4,000 people, I believe. I check every once in a while to see what the number's at. And my mom and dad, my mom grew up in the 80s. So obviously all the big hair bands and the arena rock and everything is where the music I grew up with, and my dad listened to a lot of like 60s and 70s. So growing up, honestly, I never even listened to new music. I only listened to 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it started, where I was always obsessed with the guitars and the sound and the solos and the way that was kind of formed in my brain.
Yeah.
And then I went out to California when I was 10. And I kind of I had played guitar then for already like 5 years. And I joined this group, actually the School of Rock,
Yeah.
in Burbank or Toluca Lake, whatever you want to say. And my first show was the Arena Rock show. And as I was there, I became really good friends with this guy named Jared. And he had his long black hair and only wore black.
Yeah.
And
Was he 10 as well?
no, I think he was 11.
Yeah.
He's a year older than I am. And at that, and I was just like, I looked at that and I was like, that's cool. Like, that's like, I want to be like, that's the way I want to feel. Like, I just was like, I want to do that. And he is the guy that introduced me to like metal. I didn't even realize that, that genre of music was out there. And then I basically think that like my first song, I think it was probably Slayer, was like
Really?
the first stuff that I listened to. And it just blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, I just didn't realize that people could play that fast and like that rough and get those kind of vocals out of out of your mouth and project like you could. So that was really my first introduction to metal. And after the first song, after you'd shown me on his phone, I was like, what? This is a thing? And he was like, yeah. And then we just went down a rabbit hole of all kinds of stuff that he had introduced me from there on out. So
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Slayer as a first band is like, normally, I mean, obviously they're one of the big four.
Yeah.
So they tend to be one of the first bands, but not the first band.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, because I got into metal through my dad. He's always been into it, and it was just a very natural progression into it. But like, my mum didn't want me to listen to Slayer.
Yeah.
And she was like, especially not that song, Rain in Blood. It's like, no, because I was probably the same sort of age, you know, 11, 12-ish.
Right.
And I remember I was allowed to listen to some Slayer, but not all of Slayer.
Right.
I couldn't listen to Angel of Death.
Right.
Because of like what it was written about and stuff. Right. And even though my dad was a massive metalhead, I just wasn't allowed straight away.
Right.
But it's clearly like, now it's one of my favorites.
It was the difference between a PG-13 movie and a rated R movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, Slayer was like that first. And my parents are not, they stick with 80s. And my dad really likes the 60s is like where he sits. So they do not like to listen to metal. They don't want me to, if I'm in the car, they don't want to, they do not put it on. Like it is not their jam. But they're happy that I like it at least.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have your thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it? Okay, so you were about 11-ish then.
Yeah, I would say so.
What was like the first gig that you went to?
For a metal show?
No. First gig, because
first gig.
Yeah.
This is not metal at all.
I think we're gonna have something quite in common about this.
Okay,
yeah.
My first concert I ever went to was the Cheetah Girls.
Right. Yeah. By choice?
Yes, by choice.
Cool.
At like, I think 6 years old or something. Yeah. Obviously, as any kid does, you love Disney and that's what you watch. And Cheetah Girls was just like, it was Cheetah Girls and High School Musical. Like that was my jam.
No, I can appreciate that. Yeah. My first gig was a band called Girls Aloud, who are like they were like a UK like female pop group.
Yeah.
And I mean, like as far away from metal as you can get.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember like my dad, who is a metalhead,
Yeah.
and going to him when must have been, 6, 7,
Yeah.
however old, and like asking him to buy me tickets to that. I think it like it must have hurt a part of his soul,
Yeah,
like
just a little
deep
bit.
down. So yeah, both kind of embarrassing first
Yeah,
gigs.
embarrassing, but I will admit now is like every once in a while it'll be on my playlist and it comes on and it's like, yeah, all right, I'm in
Yeah.
it. I'm in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can absolutely still listen to this.
For sure. I was with my girlfriend driving from Bristol back to London a few weeks ago, and she controls the music in the car, and she's into metal too, so that's normally
Yeah.
what we have.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't know, I was tired of metal, so I was like, I'll just stick on this this Girls Aloud track. And
Yeah.
she's like, what? like you've never mentioned that you like, and I was like, I don't really like that stuff, but that song, it just hits me like it hits 7-year-old me in a different way.
Yeah, no, I mean, big metalhead, but yes, every once in a while I just need something a little bit different.
Yeah.
So really, I listen to everything. Classical's a big one. I really love classical music. It just zens me out. And I still listen to rap, and I'm actually a huge like Taylor Swift fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, she's such a lyric person, and she even says, I mean, a lot of emos like are Swifties because they're. I mean, I think Taylor has even said that her biggest lyric inspiration is Pete Wentz.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense of that correlation of
Yeah.
how that kind of works.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Oh, all good. So how did it? Yeah. So that was your first gig,
Yes.
first metal gig. Then, when was that? Who were you seeing?
First metal gig.
Do you want me to tell you mine while you think about it?
Yeah. Go for it.
So,
I'm trying to think of in my mind.
My first one was when I was 13. It was a 1 day. No, I went for 1 day of a metal festival with my dad.
Mine was okay. Yes. Sorry.
You've got it.
Yes.
All right. Mine was So it was Metallica headlining, which
Okay.
was insane.
Yeah, as a first metal concert. Yeah.
But before Metallica, on a different stage, was Slayer. So the first metal gig that I saw was Slayer.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I didn't know what to expect. And I just, like, stood there. My dad was like, all right, so it might get a little bit rough. Like, just, like, plant your feet a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
it was terrifying. It was like, I'd never seen a crowd move like that. I'd never seen a band play, really. And, like, that much noise hitting me at once. I was just like, this is insane.
Yeah. You're
And
like,
it took me like the whole day to get over that and then see Metallica in the evening. I was like, best day of my life.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That first interaction of being with a crowd and being like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This
I remember
is...
feeling the kick drum.
Yeah.
When they were doing a sound check, you just feel it going through your chest. And I was like, oh my God,
Just
this
feel
is...
it rattle your body.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is big. I like it.
Yeah.
I think mine was also a festival, and I went with Jared, my friend, and I think Suicidal Tendencies.
That's a
I'm
pretty great...
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Funny enough, it was not strictly a metal festival. It was just a festival. And we had gone because his dad was a director for music videos. And his dad was, I can't remember which country star it was, but this country star was headlining this festival.
Right.
And obviously Suicidal Tendencies played at like 2 p.m.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was my first like metal-ish area where I'm like there with a bunch of people who, I think that was my first mosh pit too.
Really?
Yeah.
So were you into Suicidal Tendencies then, or were they just playing and you happened to see them? Or...
I was into Suicidal Tendencies then.
Yeah.
But I obviously, as we had gone, I was just going to go with him because I wanted to.
Yeah.
Just to go see this country headliner.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't super into at the time. But I was like, yeah, we're going to hang out all day and just, do our thing. And then I didn't realize that when we went earlier.
Yeah.
I was like, well, you didn't tell me this. We should have gotten here earlier.
Yeah. I've seen them a couple of times. Just so good live.
Yeah.
The proper cool energy, and they had a different bass player playing when I saw them. They had Robert Trujillo from Metallica.
Oh, yeah.
His son Ty
Okay.
was playing bass for them.
Really?
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then Metallica were that night, and Suicidal Tendency playing with Ty, which was really cool.
Yeah, that's so
And he's
cool.
got a lot of energy. I mean, he's like younger than us.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I didn't even realize.
he was proper giving it some.
Yeah,
And they all looked a bit doddery compared to him.
Right.
But yeah, they were really cool. That was another band that I got really, really into for quite a long time and didn't listen to anything else.
Yeah.
Haven't grown out of them, still love them, but it's just not
Right.
one that I listen to so much now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not top of the list if you're putting something.
No. So top of the list, who would you say is top of your list?
Top of the list. I've always said that, like, early on, obviously, as I was listening to things, I had latched onto Pantera
Nice.
as like my band. Like,
Yeah.
this is my band. This will be my all-time favorite band. But mostly just because I loved Dime's way of playing.
Yeah.
And how much, even when he would shred and do all of his solos and do everything, there's just so much. I feel like you can feel the passion behind it. And second off, it's so musically satisfying.
Yeah.
He's not just running scales and he's not just sweeping. There's so much intention with what he's doing and the way that he does it.
Yeah.
And I feel like every solo that he does is so different. And I'm like, this is like, for me, that was like next level metal, where I was like, oh, you're doing something so different. So Pantera is like my like all-time favorite, number one.
What was
band.
the first album that you heard of Pantera?
Cowboys from Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Brilliant, isn't
yeah,
it?
just and
Yeah.
I was like from just that riff, I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is it? What do we listen to this? And yeah, the Cowboys from Hell was the very first. I listened to it in Jared's his mom's car.
Nice.
They had picked me
Yeah.
up. And I don't remember where we were going, but I think that's when I was 12. It was a couple years later. And he just popped it on.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like, it opened with that. And I was like, what is this? And we just listened to it over and over. I think after
That intro riff is the riff I always play when I'm warming up. When I'm playing
Yeah.
guitar. It's
Yeah.
the first. It's always the first one I play when I pick it up.
Yeah, it's always a good one to kind of get into. I don't know if I could play it anymore right now. I've not been playing metal recently, so my fingers are a little bit slow
bit
at
rusty.
the moment.
Yeah.
I
I've
think
got
they're
rings
pretty
on, so I
rusty.
can't. That was another band that I wasn't allowed to listen to all of their songs.
Yeah.
It was like, what was I not allowed to listen to? I bought a patch for A Vulgar Display of Power.
Yeah.
And my mum was like, you can't have that. She's like, you're 14 years old. You're not going to school with a vulgar display of power patch and someone being punched in the face on it. I was like,
I was getting ready to say, you're going to get into a fight. This is a bad influence for everyone. The school's going to kick you out. They're going to send you home.
Exactly. So it was the one that I had to listen to in secret. I mean, like, I just had it on Spotify. Like, they just told me I wasn't supposed to, but that made you want to listen to it more.
Yeah.
And especially I didn't take it so seriously knowing that my dad, was into all that stuff. So I was like, you don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you're just doing this because mum doesn't want me to. And she's totally supportive of like all of this stuff. But
Right.
because I was the oldest child, she thought I was going to become obsessed with like, I mean, I did.
You're
But
right.
in a worse way.
Yeah, well, that's coming from a small town. I actually come from, I'm not religious whatsoever, but I did grow up in a German Catholic community.
Right.
So very, very religious, very, very in it. Feels very cultish.
Yeah. So Slayer went down a treat.
Yeah, no, it's like you're listening. It's the devil. It is. It's the devil's music to them.
Mad.
And it's like you're listening to that, then there must be something wrong with you. There's a lot of things wrong with me, but it's in a good way. Yeah. So yeah, kind of the same kind of idea that like, Yeah, metal is like very not good at all. And it just really made me love it more. I was like,
100%.
great, lovely. You don't like it. This makes me love it even more.
Yeah,
I'm gonna listen to it even
Yeah.
louder, and
Yeah.
just to screw with people.
And with Pantera, so have you ever listened to like their glam stuff?
Not really. No.
It's because they've taken it off Spotify.
Have they?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I guess
So,
I've
like,
never really
those-
listened to it.
Do you know any about their glam stuff, or I
I
explain a
know
little bit?
a little bit about
Yeah.
the history, but not much.
Yeah. So they had like their first 3 albums, I think, were like completely glam metal.
Right.
Like I'll have to show you the photos if you've not seen
Yeah.
them. They
I
look.
think I've seen a picture of Dime
Yeah.
with his hair, and it's the crimped kind of
Yeah,
big.
yeah. But they were doing that and wearing like the full like leopard print
Yeah.
stuff. Like not. They were trying to be like Motley Crue.
Right.
But Motley Crue had already been around and had established themselves. So they were like chasing,
Yeah.
and they were never going to be Motley Crue.
No.
And this was before Phil joined the band.
Yeah.
And like I think that was sort of the turning
That was a
point, because I
switch.
think the first album was called like Metal Magic, and it's got like because Pantera is panther in Spanish.
Yes.
So their first album's got like this man with a cat's head on it, and it's
Okay.
like all pink and blue.
I've never seen that.
Oh, I'm
no.
gonna have to show you. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
It's so, and it's like, it doesn't surprise me at all that they've not got this music out there for you to go and like
Right.
buy or listen to.
I'm sure the records are still out there.
It must
though.
be somewhere.
I'm gonna find one.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely finding them, and I'm buying them.
Yeah.
Although I feel embarrassed because I bet I'm gonna listen to it and I'm gonna go,
Yeah.
still pretty good. I'm so obsessed with Pantera. I'm gonna be like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This is still one of my favorite albums ever.
Some of the solos are still just as good, you know,
Yeah.
from Dime. But yeah, I think it was 4 albums that they had, which you can't stream easily.
Right.
So I just didn't know whether you were into the glam side or just the kind of groove metal.
Yeah, no,
which
that's
came afterwards.
I'm just in the more metal after. Well, and that's
Yeah.
what I love about them. And I'm glad they found it, because I'm sure everybody knows, but like really that was the metal resurgence. You know,
For sure.
they're the ones that everyone thought it was a dying kind of genre of music, and
Yeah.
they hit. I don't even remember what number it was, but they were on the Billboard Top 100. And you're like, for a band to do that, specifically when grunge was so
Yeah.
heavy, and like that's where everything was going, and now rap was getting mainstream.
Yeah.
And for them to kind of bring it back and be like, hey, we're kind of a little bit heavier than most bands out there.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, yeah, all right, we'll do this too.
Yeah.
You can be the one band that's allowed to be in this
Yeah.
little pocket of
Yeah.
mainstream music. I mean, it's incredible to me how influential they've been, and I think that's why I love them so much
Yeah.
too, because they just, in my opinion, saved metal, you know. And from there on out, everybody was like, oh no, we can still do this, and kind of
Yeah.
changed from there. Even, and that's, I think, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but Gojira.
Yeah.
And like they've always been one of my favorite bands too. And the fact that now metal's getting mainstream again because of the Olympics is like so cool to me. It's like finally it's like these bands are getting recognized, even though they've been around for how many years, you know. It's amazing.
It's cool. Before we go on to
Yeah.
Gojira, got like one more thing on Pantera. It's like, I didn't know for a long time that the brothers didn't like thrash metal.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
They didn't like it. They liked glam metal.
Yeah.
That's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until Kerry King of Slayer, he met them
Yeah.
and basically just hung out with them
Yeah.
for ages
Right.
and taught Dimebag how to play thrash.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't interested.
Yeah.
And then when he was hanging out with Kerry King, and Kerry King even did some gigs with Pantera just for like fun,
Yeah.
totally like showed him everything. And then the next thing they brought out was like Cowboys from Hell. It's like they were hanging out with the right people
They
at the
just
right time.
figured it out. Yeah.
So that was I didn't know how closely that they were linked,
Yeah.
the two bands, but it was really cool.
Yeah, no, I recently last year went to the Metallica tour
Yeah.
in LA at SoFi.
Yeah.
And went both nights.
Nice.
But I'm gonna be honest, as like, yeah, I wanted to see Metallica because it feels like one of those.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Metallica, but they're not,
Yeah.
someone that I'm listening to constantly. And I literally bought the tickets just to go see,
Yeah.
basically Phil and Rex. I remember when I was first started listening to Pantera, and I was like, I can't wait to go and see them. And I looked it up, and I was like,
Oh,
I
no.
like almost cried because I was like, he died?
Yeah.
He died? And funny enough, he died December 8th
Yeah.
in Ohio. So he died on my birthday in Ohio. It's very like,
That's
it's
weird.
kind of like a fun little, well,
Yeah.
it's not fun.
No,
it's
it's
not
not
fun,
fun at all.
not fun at all. Very tragic, but it's a interesting little
That
fun.
is weird.
Yeah, fun
Yeah.
fact. So yeah, when I had found that out, I was like, oh my God, I'm never gonna get to see Pantera live. And so when I saw the tour hit and saw that they were going to play, it was literally one of those things that I thought I was never going to ever get to experience.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just an instantaneous like, oh, absolutely. I don't care how much the tickets cost. I'm going.
Yeah.
And I did. And as soon as they came on, my fiance was with me, and I felt like I was
Is she a Pantera fan?
Little, yeah, not really, but she was happy for me.
Yeah.
She'll absolutely listen to him. She appreciates it. But she's more of, she still listens to metal. She's more Motionless in White,
Cool.
Pierce the Veil.
Yeah.
Anywhere in that genre of
It's good that
stuff.
she can appreciate it and understand it though.
Yeah,
So
but
that's-
she does like the 80s metal a little bit, because I know one of her first boyfriends listened more of like the 80s hair bands and glam metal and stuff. Like, she'll pull out a song sometimes, and we'll be in the car, and all of a sudden she'll be singing along to everything, and I'll look at her and I go, where is this coming from? Why do you know this song?
Yeah.
Well, where is that coming from? But yeah, no, but as soon as I saw it, like I said, I bought the tickets instantaneously, because I was like, this is literally a dream come true.
Yeah.
Like, I thought this was never going to be possible.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not possible to see the original, 4, but, for me, I was like, yeah, I felt like I was 5 years old again. And I was looking, and I was like, I didn't sit down, and I felt like I was going to faint, and my heart was beating so fast.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I was going to cry. Like, as soon as they came on, I was like, I feel like I'm going to cry right now, because this is something that I never thought I would
Do you remember what they came out to? Because I went on the Metallica tour for a bunch of those shows as well, so I got to see them like that too.
To be honest, I have not a clue.
No.
It's such a blur. Like, it felt like it happened, and then all of a sudden it was over, and I was like, that's it. That's all.
I remember. Didn't they like tease playing Cemetery Gates or something? Like, I think halfway
Maybe
through
that's what it is. And they did kind of. Yeah, I was gonna say halfway through they played part of it, because they didn't play the entire
But I think
thing.
it came through the PA. Rex, I don't know if you could see from where you were,
I
but
couldn't.
he's so thin.
Yeah,
Rex.
I know.
Like, and it doesn't help that he's next to Zach Wilde,
Yeah.
who is like
A
shredded.
massive dude. I met Zach Wilde once.
Oh, so
Saw him play. He came to the School of Rock once.
nice.
A massive dude.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of a lot of people.
Yeah.
But being like 14 years old and looking at him and going, oh, hi. And the way he carries his guitar too, and the way he kind of just, it feels like he's just holding a toothpick.
Yeah.
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 Phenomenal player, and very nice guy.
That's very cool.
I don't
Good
know
to
if
hear.
it's because we were children,
Yeah.
but but at least he was nice to
Yeah.
us. I had a very good experience with him.
And another thing about when I saw Pantera is Phil doesn't wear any shoes.
No,
Or
no,
socks.
no. I know. I saw that. It threw me for a second, because I was paying attention to it, but I did clock that one. I
Yeah.
was like,
The
why
dogs
you-
are out. Like,
Yeah. What? Why you got your shoes off, man? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Why did?
Yeah.
Maybe we should put some shoes on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know the reasoning behind
don't.
it? Has he talked about
No,
it?
I mean, I haven't delved into it too much, but one of the shows I had the Snake Pit, which is
Oh,
the
yeah.
middle
Yeah.
for Metallica. So, and there's no barrier
Okay.
for that.
Right.
So you are just up against the stage,
Oh, that's cool.
and it's amazing. But I was eye level with his feet.
With Phil's feet the entire time. You're like,
It's like because the stage is like it goes down in some bits and then
Right.
up in a circle. So some parts of it are chest level,
right.
and some parts of the stage are
yeah,
eye level. And you can move around the snake pit. And I just remember like at one point he was right in front of me, and I was just looking. This is grim. It's like I was looking like directly into his toenails, and like they were like.
There's no way I was gonna say he doesn't have nice feet.
No, they were like black stuff all up in his toenails. Like I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
But this is. Why am I seeing this?
Yeah, you're like, dude, you gotta put him away at
Literally.
some point. Just put him away.
It was like that, and then the vape over there. I was like,
Yeah.
what am I watching?
Yeah, you're like, dude, you're not washing your feet.
Yeah.
My guy over there, you're gonna blow away. Please just stop. Don't have a vape stand,
Yeah.
my guy.
Yeah, it's especially for a support slot.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, but they were cool.
I did see at that concert as well was Wolfgang.
Van Halen, yeah.
I'd never heard his music before. Well, obviously, you would think that he'd be a phenomenal guitarist given his dad.
Yeah.
But absolutely mind-blowing
Yeah.
guitarist. And not only that, his music is phenomenal.
It's really
and
catchy.
He has a phenomenal voice. My God. Like, everything about him was just, as you might say, or I guess this is probably don't say it anymore, is it ace?
Ace, no, Ace is. I say that a lot.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely ace.
Yeah.
You know, I actually left because I think he played the second night. I left that second night listening to his music on the way home.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you're phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal. And I don't know why you're not showing up in mainstream stuff right now. Because it's not like even super heavy like it. Like
No, it's very listenable to a lot of people.
I actually, because my mom obviously grew up in the 80s, I literally came. Well, I was in LA, so I stayed with my parents at the time. So I went back to their house and I walked in and I was like, "Have you heard Wolfgang Van Halen's stuff?" And she was like, "No." I was like, "You need to listen to it because you're going to really like it." And I actually think she started listening to him after that as well. Absolutely mind-blowing,
cool.
phenomenal dude.
They this is a bit of a tangent, but like I went to nearly all of the Metallica shows on that tour because
so cool.
My dad and my brother and I have been making a fan film
about
the people that we've met over the 2 years traveling.
Wow, yeah.
So it's not about Metallica.
Yeah.
The only thing that is about Metallica is it's where we see everyone, and it's the one connection that everyone's story has.
Yeah.
So we've been traveling around and seeing pretty much all of the shows, apart from the LA one. That one we didn't do. Did the one before it and the one after it, but I didn't do that one. But I remember we were flying to Germany, and we were checking in to the flight, and all of Wolfgang Van Halen and his band were just like in the queue, right in front of us. And he's enormous.
Is he?
He's absolutely enormous.
I don't feel like
he's a massive guy. And again, it didn't help. I think his bass player is a very small guy. So it's just like, it was, but they were really cool, and they just looked like guys having a good time and enjoying it.
Cool.
And I really enjoyed seeing them a lot more than I enjoyed the other support, Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's their fault why I didn't enjoy them so much.
Well, their issue is I love their play on stage, and you know, they're the horror group and stuff like that. The issue is their show is not set up for a circular stage.
Exactly.
That's where it's screwed up.
Yeah.
Exactly what you said. Not their fault.
Yeah.
Their stuff just isn't. It's set up for a normal stage where they can get on and off stage with curtains and stuff is hidden
and lighting.
Yeah, the circle stage does not. Well, it's the lighting, and when you're playing when it's daylight out, it's just not. It's not working. They still did their best and put on a great show, but it does. Yeah, you're right. It does not work. It doesn't work at all.
And I felt bad for them because the music's catchy again,
Yeah.
and but seeing them kill somebody, I mean, for context, they have actors on the stage who go around and pretend to kill people because it goes with the songs. But just when you're seeing it and there's nowhere to hide behind things,
Yeah.
it just, especially when you're watching from close up, it's like
It just doesn't sell.
yeah. But I would like to see them at one of their own shows in a club or a proper venue where they've gotten control of it.
Yeah, I've never been in person, but I've watched a lot of their stuff online, and
Yeah.
it usually looks
Oh, I can imagine it looks.
decently good,
Yeah.
because they put a lot of production. I followed one of the actors who plays some of the
Yeah, yeah,
characters on TikTok or
Yeah.
something, and I was watching they like document like their day in the life of
Is it the lady who does all the hair change?
Yeah.
I've seen it. Yeah.
So it's like, the day in the life of being a part of Ice Nine
Yeah.
Kills,
Yeah.
I started watching that and I was like, wow, they put like so much work into that. And like I said, I'm glad that they maybe got a couple of new fans traveling with Metallica, but I hope those fans also go and see their shows now, because does seem so much better on a regular stage.
Yeah.
They got screwed over, and they absolutely did their best, and it still kind of worked.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, Metallica have kept them there as they're still the support for the tour next year.
Oh, really?
So
I
that's
didn't know
going to be
that.
the third year of them being. So
Yeah.
I mean, Metallica must be happy.
Yeah.
Another band that I had a similar. We're just going completely on whatever tangents. Now.
Yeah,
This is
I
just
mean,
like-
we're off now.
This is like another band. Yeah, Ghost.
Yeah.
I think the exact same thing happened to them because they were Metallica's support in 2019 or something.
Okay.
And again, it was stadium shows, daylight,
Right.
and they are a very theatrical band.
Yeah.
And they have, stained glass windows put up and stuff with lighting and coffins on stage.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work in daylight.
No,
So
it
it's-
doesn't.
I think you've got to be a different kind of band to just rock a show at 3:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You're playing for the music
Yeah.
rather than the show aspect.
Yeah. Exactly.
But anyway, that's a whole tangent on Pantera
somehow,
and stuff.
we got.
That's what happens when this is the point of this, and I prefer it to just be conversational and,
Right.
and about metal and stuff. So yeah, another band that you're big into is Gojira.
Yeah.
And I remember reading somewhere that you are in a band or were in a band that played some Gojira covers.
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah. That's so. I was in a band with my friend Jared, and mostly what we played was Gojira.
Yeah.
I just their musicality and everything that they do was just so cool to me. And the way that they form songs and obviously a lot of their lyrics and stuff like that. But really musically just did that thing where it just like scratched your brain a little bit. I just fell in love with them so quick.
What was the album that did that for you?
It's I don't know if what's Toxic Garbage Island on.
The one with the skeleton with the exo.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the first album that I had listened to.
Yeah.
And then I think I went to Flying Whales after that.
From Mars to
From
Sirius.
Mars to Sirius.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were like the first two albums.
See, I worked the other way.
Oh,
so the
really?
first album that I ever bought on vinyl, and I kind of bought it for the novelty of I mean, I don't know how old I was, a lot younger. I bought Magma on vinyl.
Yeah.
I was like, this is cool. I have £25.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy this, and then took it home and I'll put it on my dad's vinyl player. And I hadn't actually listened to it before. I just bought it off the artwork. And I was like, this album is amazing.
Yeah.
And I remember it was the only album that I had on vinyl. So
Yeah.
I just played it over and over again,
Yeah.
just for the novelty of it. And
Yeah.
I became obsessed with them and then worked backwards
Yeah.
to Mars to Sirius
Okay.
and then the other ones. And yeah, they are an insane band.
Yeah, they're so cool. I was actually doing theater production at 15 years old, and that's when I was really heavy into my Gojira phase. And again, I was playing a character. Actually, funny enough, where I got not actually this ring, but when I started wearing rings, because the character was supposed to be not have a good relationship with his dad and be like estranged from him. And I think I have a theme going on with the characters that I play. But I said this character definitely listens to metal, and the sound production for the play, he actually, during the second act, I have a scene with my dad and I'm wearing headphones and he like approaches me. So the sound design behind it, they had it in there, and he actually put in, I can't remember what song it is off the top of my head, but he ended up putting Gojira.
Yeah.
So Gojira played during the play. So I made everybody that's dressed up in nice suits and everything basically listen to Gojira midway through the play. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think they're so cool, and everything that they do. Funny enough is like, that's where, and obviously you can see in their production that they have so many, you can see that they have so many other musical influence, and I love that so much, because I think, I'm drawing a blank on that Red album.
The Link?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Link and everything that they do, and you can hear all the different drumming.
Yeah.
And the fact that I obviously I don't know it, but it has to be that they have so many other musical influences, and they want to get experimental. And I think it's during the Link, specifically the Alive, but you can hear even the jaw harp at the end going boing 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 boing. And I just find it so cool that even them, they just are getting experimental, but not straying away from who they are, but finding ways to incorporate different instruments and different musicality styles, and go from there. And it's just really enjoyable to me.
And they also follow you.
They do.
It's pretty cool.
I've talked to Mark a couple times through DMs. Yeah, I remember cool. The first time he messaged me. He was like, "Hey man, I heard you're a fan, and heard you had a band. If you have anything, you should send it over." And I was like, I feel like I'm gonna throw up right now. I never ended up sending anything over because we never ended up recording anything. Yeah, we wrote a lot of songs, but we never recorded anything. We never got to that level. But I was like, I started to freak out when I did that. I was like, what do I say? How do I respond? I don't even know. I don't know. I felt like somebody had asked me out on my first date ever, because I was like, I don't know what do I do? Yeah. But he seems like a really cool guy.
No, they do.
I've actually still never seen Gojira live.
Really?
Never.
Oh, you're going to be jealous of this then. So this summer, I'm going to 3 festivals. Okay. And they're headlining all 3 of them.
Okay.
So
which festivals?
It's Wacken in Germany.
It's a funny name.
Which is like, it's the town is called Wacken. Well, Wacken. And it's
no, it's Wacken.
It should be Wacken. And that is the best festival I've ever been to.
Okay.
And I couldn't recommend it more. It's like Europe's biggest metal festival.
Okay.
And it's just amazing. And I went there last year. And this year, Gojira headlining one of the nights, which is going to be insane. And then they're playing a festival in the UK called Bloodstock.
Okay.
Which they're also headlining one day. And then they're headlining Dynamo Metal Fest in the Netherlands. Okay. And these are 3 weekends in a row. So
just back to back.
Yeah. So I'm driving to Wacken, then back to England for the UK one, then I'm driving to the Netherlands for it again. So it's gonna be 3 weeks of like, and at all 3 is also Mastodon.
Okay,
so it's like
they've been together a lot recently.
And they've this upsets me, but they've swapped the order that they play in. So Gojira used to be Mastodon support.
Yeah.
Like years and years and years ago.
Yes.
And Gojira have obviously just massively.
Well, when you play the Olympics and you get worldwide, you hit that next level kind of fame where everybody starts to get obsessed with you, and you're like, oh, yeah, okay.
I'm almost surprised that next year they're Metallica's main support.
They are?
Yeah. So Metallica are doing 13 European dates.
Well, sounds like
You're coming back over.
Yeah, no, I'm coming. I'm coming back. I'm gonna have to see Gojira and Metallica in one night.
Yeah, it's but I'm almost surprised. Not that I'm saying they're as big as Metallica, but I would have thought they'd do their own thing at this point. But
I agree with you though. Is like when you have somebody like I mean Metallica's classic. They've been around for years.
Yeah.
But I would argue that Gojira's just as big as Metallica. They've just
not been around as long.
They've not been around as long, and they've not been as big as Metallica for as long. But also, I feel like if you are a band and you're in the metal world, I mean, if Metallica calls, you absolutely say, whatever you need, I'll be there.
Yeah. So that I'm super excited for that. Next year and the ones this summer.
Yeah, so that sounds nice. I've never been to Germany. Maybe I'll have to.
I couldn't recommend it more. It's an amazing festival, and they have all their stages are in pairs.
Okay.
So as soon as one band finishes, the stage immediately starts,
right?
And they're attached.
Yeah.
And one's the faster, louder, and harder stages.
Okay.
It's just seamless.
Yeah,
I love those guys in that festival, so I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, it's gonna be so cool.
Speaking of festivals, I thought I would just make you aware of one that's on right now.
Okay.
Because I saw another one of your favorite bands is Opeth.
Yes.
Yeah.
The best live band I have ever seen. Really? Those dudes are so in the pocket.
Yeah.
And I can't think of the singer's name right now.
I've never listened to them.
Really?
They're one that have just gone over my head.
Phenomenal band.
Yeah.
If you can see them live,
they're playing tomorrow.
Are they?
In Derby.
Oh, I work tomorrow. No.
Yeah, they're playing Download Festival.
Yeah, if I could see them live, do it.
Yeah.
Like 110% the best live band I have ever seen. Because the singer, like I said, I can't think of his name right now, but he was the singer for Bloodbath as well.
Is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure because we used to play Eaten by Bloodbath.
Yeah.
And in our band, that was the one that we do where we'd be playing songs and we'd be like, should we play Eaten? And then obviously we'd have take 5 minutes to tune all the way down and because I think it's in drop B, if I remember correctly. But I think it's the same singer. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm gonna check
I'm
myself,
gonna give them a listen anyway on your recommendation.
Yeah, listen to Opeth. I love them. His voice is so buttery, and he's a phenomenal vocalist. And the way he switches from clean, everything is him. Yeah. And I knew that, and I was like, all right, well, we'll see how this goes live because obviously somebody else is gonna pick some stuff up. So that way, because you can't transition that quickly. Dude transitions really? Sang for 3 hours and can transition from clean to dirty vocals. So to screaming, it's so quick and so seamlessly. It's just a feat what he can do, and to sound better than when you listen to them through your phone or on CDs or whatever I was amazed. I was just in awe the entire night. I was like, I do not know how you sound better in person than you can on a recording. Phenomenal band.
So I might have to go and see them tomorrow then.
Yeah.
I think,
you might have to.
It's the headline is Green Day though, which is a bit rogue.
Yeah.
I like Green Day, but
I like Green Day too, yeah.
The festival used to be called Monsters of Rock.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say they're a monster of rock.
No.
But anyway, that's a different.
That might be a hard debate with maybe not with us, but with some people that would listen. But anyway,
so I'll leave that one. Cool. Well, I think that wraps up pretty much everything that we talk about. Sure. We'll just briefly, seeing as this is the Battle Jackets London podcast, should mention Battle Jackets.
Yes.
Bringing it right back on topic. So you don't have one, a Battle Jacket?
No.
No? have you ever thought about making one?
I've always thought that I would do it,
Yeah.
and then like had collected patches
You did?
over time, and then I have not a clue where any of them went. But yeah, I have mini a jean jacket, and
Yeah.
was gonna like do the thing where I like
Patch it up.
where I patch it up, and then actually like not get a vest, like rip the sleeves off, so that way I could, I was like,
that's
when I
cooler.
was like,
Yeah.
when I was like 15, I was
I'll
like,
give you that.
I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna rip the sleeves
Yeah.
off, and then I'll
I
put
want
the
it to look
patches
really
on, and
tatty.
then-
Yeah.
yeah. And then just never did it.
So I'm going to help you get started on one.
Okay.
So we need to know what you want on it.
Okay.
So first of all, we've got the most important patch on a battle jacket is the back patch,
Yes.
the big central one.
Yeah.
So what band do you think you would have for that?
I think I'd have to go with my number one and always number one, which is
Yeah.
Pantera.
Yeah. Yeah, I can find some different Pantera back patches.
Yeah.
But if there was one piece of art or album,
Anything.
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 yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
That's
mean,
good. That's freedom for me
easy to please.
yeah, because I can, if I can't find a patch, I can find a shirt
Right.
and I can cut up the
Okay,
shirt and turn it
cool.
into a patch, which is
Yeah.
what I've done on that jacket next to you. Don't know if you see the back of it. So that's
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
Mastodon Remission shirt, which had a massive hole in it. So I've cut it up, and that's going to be the back for that jacket when it's done.
So cool.
Which is that jacket I actually finished completely full, like this one and that one.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't wear it once because I wasn't happy with it,
Right.
and now I've taken everything off of it
Oh.
because it has to be right if I'm doing it.
Yeah, it's got to be
Yeah.
your top quality of what you want.
Got to be done.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want Pantera back patch.
Yeah.
Are there any other specific bands and albums that I need to try and find things for?
This is all you, man.
Yeah.
I trust you and what you're
trust my
doing. I
judgment.
think, we know Mastodon, Opeth, Gojira. Actually really enjoy, Deaf Heaven.
Yeah,
Yeah, love
I haven't seen
Deaf-
many patches for them though.
I haven't either, but
Yeah.
I love them. Anything that you're
Are
really
there any?
feeling,
I have a TV show patch on my. I presume you don't know the Mighty Boosh. It's a UK comedy
No.
cult classic show.
No.
I've got a patch of that on this jacket. I've got a Mandalorian pin for Star Wars.
Okay, yeah.
So it's kind of all different things. Would you have anything on it that wasn't a band that comes to mind?
I'll give you my favorite movie of all time is
Yeah.
Singing in the Rain,
Okay.
because I grew up tap dancing.
Yeah.
So maybe Singing in the Rain, and then
Because it's nice to have little touches of
yeah,
your personality, which don't necessarily have to be bands.
right,
So
And
Singing in
then-
the Rain would definitely be unique. I don't think there's many of them on battle jackets,
Yeah.
but
and then you know what show I really like, because you're saying like kind of the cult classic, and this isn't a cult classic. It was very big, but you know the show Gilligan's Island?
I'm not familiar.
I'll watch. What'd you say? The Mighty.
The Mighty Boosh.
All right, I'll watch the Mighty
Yeah.
Boosh. You watch Gilligan's Island. It's
Okay.
it's a TV show from like the 60s.
Okay.
It's
deal.
why I used to watch it growing up,
Yeah.
just like on the weekends is basically what it
Okay.
was.
I'll see if I can find anything.
Yeah, I don't know if you can. I've not looked up anything, but
I have to get creative. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
point of these.
yeah,
But yeah, I think that pretty much covers
cool,
everything that I wanted to talk about and more.
lovely.
So yeah, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having
been
me.
really
I've had a fun time just going on tangents
Yeah.
of metal, which doesn't happen very often.
It's
for
nice to
me.
have the opportunity to just chat about it.
Yeah.
Normally I've talked to my dad or whatever, but I love meeting new people and
Yeah.
seeing what bands they like and what we can disagrry on, and
Yeah.
that's half the fun of being.
I don't
into
think
this
we
stuff.
disagreed on anything,
No.
but I'm sure the longer we talk, I'm sure there would probably be something, but also I don't know if it would. I really
Yeah.
don't think so.
Well, we'll have to do another one sometime and find out.
Yeah, for sure. That would be dope.
Cool. All right. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week.